mister. Bet you're gonna get in big trouble for getting all dirty like that.
You might be wondering how Spawn ended up in a situation where he's being taught a very important lesson about personal hygiene, from a near toddler no less. Well, the situation beforehand couldn't have been any more different even if you tried, as Spawn and Angela were busy kicking ass and taking names in hell, but had to make a chaotic escape to avoid being overrun.
My lord! Smut don't want to be here. Smut's got a castle to look after.
Can't you zap yourself back to the castle? I suppose I just ought to concentrate on getting back to Earth and...
Ow! And thus we're back where we started.
You wanna play ball?
Sorry, kid. Not right now.
The kid tries to help him up, unbeknownst to him that the chains are the ones who are actually lifting his 400-pound body, and is continuing to do so as he tries to drag him in his toy wagon, which was coincidentally also made to withstand 450 pounds for some reason.
Where are we going?
Home. What'd you think? Though I can't let Pa see you. He wouldn't understand. He never does.
We can already tell that dear old Pa is a judging by the scars on the kid's skin. But just to rub it in case someone didn't get the memo, here's a side-by-side comparison with a family that is cherished very dearly by Spawn himself.
Little girl, what am I going to do with you now?
Dad!
What am I supposed to do now? I'm not made of money. You think we can just eat out every day? I expect a hot meal when I get home from work, not some friggin' swill that's ice cold.
I'll get you some better stuff, Pa.
His older brother has had enough with this and tries to interfere. But if only it was enough to put a stop to it.
I'm not finished with your little brother yet.
No, Pa, please.
Later on, Eddie is apologizing to his little brother, claiming that every time he tries to take the brunt of the pain, it just backfires on him. The kid surprisingly has a cheery and optimistic attitude after all was said and done, only wanting to show his brother their new guest at the shed. But first, they have to make sure the subhuman is fast asleep.
He should be passed out by now.
So predictable. So, what's up? What do you have to show me that's so important?
You'll see. I've got it hidden in the shack. This is really cool. Hello?
Close the door, please.
Andy tells his brother that Spawn is like his own personal E.T., and then asks if his finger glows.
It did. I'm not sure if it still does.
But Spawn wants to ask about a more pressing matter before the kid can geek out any further.
Your bruises. Did your dad give those to you?
Sadly, both are terrified to admit it, and before Spawn can get the truth out of them, their meeting was cut short.
Eddie! Andy! Get your butts in here right now!
Let's go before he comes in here!
What are you two, brain dead? We have church tomorrow.
His children may not be brain dead, but I can't say the same for the rest of the locals in this small town.
Amen.
As the two-faced snake is not only viewed as an upbeat father and cop to them, but his wafer-thin story of chalking up his children's bruises to rough sport works every time. But of course, no mask is required once the doors are closed again.
Andy, be a good lad and fetch me that last beer.
But unfortunately, the beer slipped from Andy's hand, causing it to shatter on the ground, which switched the monster's tolerable mood into a rage that even other abusers would say is too far.
You idiot! Look what you've done! I told you, that was my last beer! I'm through trying to beat some sense into you. Time you learned another lesson. Like dying!
Stop it! Stop it!
Ready, boy? Ha ha ha! Now you two go to bed. And think about what could really happen next time. I'm going to the pub. Ha 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 ha!
Andy claims he's getting worse by the day, and in tears just wants to genuinely know why he's like this.
No clue, little buddy, but God help us.
What just happened here?
Spawn didn't wait for an answer as he was about to go bash his skull in, but Andy stops him, rightfully terrified at the prospect of making things worse.
It's okay. I'm not leaving. But things will get better. I promise.
And just for a moment, the kids catch a glimpse of what a true father should be.
See you around, Joe. What a great guy. Always there for his friends.
Huh? Now what?
Come here, Joe. I'd knock your block off if I thought it'd do any good. See, I've got this thing against hitting people for no good reason. Throwing punches is a really stupid hobby.
Spawn further elaborates that he is unfortunately speaking from experience with his widowed wife, Wanda.
A lot of people have good feelings about you, Joe. It's time the two most important ones felt the same way. End of sermon.
But sermons are not enough, as he uses his abilities to brand the douchebag with a single embarrassing sentence that is repeated all over his body.
If you're good, it'll fade in a month.
Unfortunately though, Spawn's biggest mistake here was to leave the town immediately after. as will be shown the next day when the kids come home from school.
Beth Weisenin has a crush on you, and she wants to do some kissy face with you.
She does not.
Does so?
Does not. My wagon.
Hi, fellas. How was school today?
He then doesn't waste a second not only showing us he didn't learn his lesson, but that Andy's fear of him doubling down was not misplaced.
Help me!
Get off him now! I mean it!
How many times have I told you? That thing's not a toy!
I know.